In this tutorial, we're going to discuss example number 8, which features a simple granular synthesizer. With granular synthesis, it is possible to change the tempo or the pitch of a sample or both independently from another. So you can make it play faster without changing the pitch, or you can make it sound higher while having the same tempo. So let's open example number 8. Simple granular. Microphone is open again, so please mute that at the beginning. I see still a recording in here, and let's throw that away. And okay, so we have a setup here. This is a sample player, the sampler in the sampler here with a play button, and this is a recorder, a sample recorder with a record button here. So first we're going to record a sample, and with this recorder here, it's possible to save the sample to the file, which will be saved on your headset actually, and then also to move it over here to the sampler, which has a lot of playback functions that we're going to use to have the granular synthesis effect. Okay, so with this recorder here, you have to set the length of the recording in the beginning. So 10 seconds is fine for us. And so the volume should be good. And then, actually you can mute what is coming in, which is great because otherwise you hear yourself doubled, which is very, I find that very tiring. So now this microphone is unmuted and it can be recorded, but I don't hear myself double because I muted the speaker in here. So I press the record button and record a quick sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I switched to black again so that you can see the waveform. Right, so there is also a little normalize switch, which basically, when I save this now, will stretch this to full volume. I think that should be good. So mute the microphone, save the file. It's gonna be in your that's now saved to the storage of the headset with this file name here inside the recordings, the samples recordings folder. I take the tape here and put it in this recorder over here, and it is already, well, kind of playing. We can't hear anything. Okay, sorry, it's loud. So this was already running. It's gonna loop around now. Let's listen to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's playing with the same pitch, but slower than normal. So how is this working? We can unplug this for now and have a manual simulation of what is going on with the simple granular synthesis, simply by taking these by hand, like so. So with the left hand, you take this is the in and out for the looping. The sampler is in loop mode. There's also one-shot mode. And so let's hear this now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a small window, which is looping, and slowly progressing through the material with my hands. I can make it bigger so that it's easier to see and so on, and to control. 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Three, 4, Right, I think you get the idea. When it's very small, the window, it's actually quite difficult to handle by hand because, yeah, you have a little bit of shakiness, of course. And that's why we have this little modulation chain here, which we can use to automate that process. So the in and out points can be automated. So you can control them with these CVs in. There are some attenuators here for the input. We leave them to as they are. So this should be 0, which means that it's beginning from here. This should be 1, means it begins from there. And we connect these back again. So, and from here. And now it's playing again. And so what is driving this? So we have a sawtooth oscillator here. It's in an LFO mode, slowly going up here, full amplitude. So it's going from -1 very slowly to +1 and then jumps back to -1. This is the basic driving modulation for this thing here. So it's increasing from -1 to 1, and this basically is the movement through the time here. But these inputs here, they want values between 0 and 1. So what we have to do here is use the polarizer to make sure that this bipolar signal is being transformed to unipolar. So that means now that from 0 to 1, this is moving along. There is an attenuator, which we could use to not have the full range, but only a smaller range. So that's also why it's slower now. It's moving at the same hertz speed, but for a smaller range. So that's why it's slower. Let's bring that back to full range. And then there's a DC offset, which is at 0, doesn't do anything. Like this one, it's there to adjust something, but it doesn't do anything right now. So this you could use to have an offset by hand. But let's reset that DC to 0. So this is basically not being used at the moment, but could be used for fine adjustments. Then this signal here, the modulation signal from 0 to 1, is being split once in a direct input for the left bar here. So, and this is already driving. And then the thing is that the right bar always needs to be a little bit higher than the left, a little bit later, further to the right than the left value. That means it has to be a little bit bigger, that number. And we do that by mixing in a DC number, which is very small. Basically, this is from -1, which also inverts the flips it then. And so if I, with a fine-tune dial, hold the grab handle, if you increase that just a little bit, like so, you can set this with the window, the size of the window. But usually quite small values should be good for granular synthesis. So there you have it. This is generating. It's not playing. So even if this is not playing, don't be confused. The in and out points, they are moving because they're not driven from this here. This is the readout of the sample. They're driven from here, which is still playing. So just to let you know. And there's a reset button, which goes in for the sync, which is a reset, of course. So like that, you can jump back if you hit that from the beginning. 1, 2. And you can do more things. 3. Change the pitch.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Loop it again. Okay, and then there is this windowing function here. At the time of this recording, this is not exactly working perfectly, but basically what this should be doing is it's giving the loop area a fade in and a fade out to make sure that it's not so clicky. If I put this to 0, then there will be no fade in and fade out. And you hear there's a lot of clicking now. And if I dial that in, loop. So there's hardly any clicking, but yeah, and you can reverse the playback, which can be fun because it's moving forwards, but it's actually playing backwards while doing so. Can we see this? If I make it really big, no, not really. Maybe if I go like that, yeah, now you can see it. This is playing backwards, but the window is moving forwards. Right. So, but of course, I mean, this is a very simple granular effect. Bigger programs like Ableton Live or many other programs, they use very complicated, very complex algorithms, or also for artistic expression and design, sound design. You can there are many programs and synthesizers and plugins out there which offer granular synthesis with a lot more possibilities. Especially including, well, oversampling, a better windowing, and being polyphonic, so that you have an overlapping cloud of these grains. Not only one monophonic grain like so, but you have many clouds randomly spaced, overlapping each other, maybe even with a pitch variance, and a stereo spatial placement. Right. So yeah, that's it for the granular synthesis. The sampler is a very powerful module in itself for many other things, which will have to be presented in another tutorial. But I think the most important thing here is that it has the same inputs. They behave the same as the oscillator inputs for exponential FM, linear through zero FM, and amplitude and ring modulation, which is great for sample mangling. So to bring out a lot of texture and distortion from your sample material. Okay, so that was tutorial number 8. Three, 4, 5,